Hi, this is Dr. Boyd. I wanted to come on here at the direct request of a patient. I just got off a session with her. Girl, this is for you, okay? So we're doing PTSD treatment, and one of the things that came up is that we often see red flags and we think in hindsight that was a red flag, right? There's a lot of stuff on Instagram about red flags, about how this is a red flag and this is a red flag and this is a red flag. One of the things I like to share with people that's really important in PTSD treatment specifically is that red flags are never confirmed red flags until after the fact. That means that in the walking towards something, we may not see it as a red flag, and then only after, through hindsight, do we go, oh, that was the red flag, right? But it's only through the confirmation of bad behavior that we know that that was actually an indication of bad behavior before we saw it. I'll give you an example, okay? And I think this is one that many people who identify as women can understand, right? And this is like, I'm walking down the street and I see what looks like a man coming towards me, and I think, oh, and I'm by myself, or I'm in a kind of sketchy neighborhood, or like maybe we're like there's some bad stuff going down, and I'm like, oh fuck. You know, this is bad. This is a red flag. This is a red flag. And then the person walks by and nothing happens, right? We would say, in hindsight, we would forget all about that, right? But if something bad happened to me in that exchange, I go, see, I knew it. That was a red flag. I saw him coming towards me. That was a red flag. How many times do we walk by something and go, oh, this is going to be bad? And then it turns out it wasn't bad. And then we forget all about it. And then we do the opposite, where there's really no indication that something bad is going to happen. And then in hindsight, we go, oh, that was it. That was the red flag. So I just want us to be a lot more compassionate and understand the hindsight bias here. I want us to understand that the hindsight bias is 20/20. And PTSD is actually born of misattribution of blame and the hindsight bias. So after a trauma happens to us, we go, yep, I should have known. That was it. If I hadn't gone in that room, or if I hadn't done that thing and that was the red flag, that actually makes us much sicker. Okay. So it's really important for you to understand that, we never know till it's over. Like hindsight's 20/20. Be careful with the stuff that says, oh, that was a red flag. I should have known that was the red flag. Inherited trauma is a loss of control, and we answer that with control fantasies. And one of them is that we have these very obvious indicators that something bad happened and we just ignored the indicator. So, we say, okay, I'll get better at seeing the indicators. But sometimes they're just not there. And how do you know? Because the proof is in the pudding. If it was really a waving red flag, you wouldn't have been there. You would have turned around. You would have done the thing. So I don't know what else to tell y'all here except for pink. What do they say? They're pink flags until they're red flags, or they're not red flags until they're red flags. So just be careful with that, because there's a lot of stuff on here about red flags. And I just want to put a plug in to understand that that's the hindsight bias, and that it's not as obvious as we think it would. We wish that, traumatic events were glaringly obvious before they happened. And I hate to say this, but if they were, much of the time, not all of the time, but much of the time, we wouldn't be in the situation. And I wouldn't have a job. And that would be great. So be good to yourselves, please. Be good to yourselves and watch that hindsight bias. Okay. Love, Doctor.